Now, welcome to Vivekananda Revealed. Now, in the first video, I told you behind the purpose behind starting this web series. Then, in the second video, I told you about the wonderful speech which Swami Vivekananda gave at the World Parliament of Religions. Now, in the third and fourth video, I will tell you about what Swami Vivekananda had to say about Hinduism. Now, as all of us know, that Swami Vivekananda was a pioneer of Vedanta. He propagated the ideas of Hinduism to people all over the world. So it is very, very important to understand what Swami Vivekananda had to say about Hinduism. So friends, these are the thoughts which I have analyzed from the book Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda. Now, Hinduism is a religion whose foundation is Vedas. It is also termed as the religion of Vedas or Vedanta philosophy. It is believed that Vedas have no beginning or no end. They are timeless. They were not written, but they always existed. But this needs to be understood properly. For example, the law of gravitation as discovered by Newton. Now, it did not mean that this law did not exist before. It is just that Newton was the first who realized it. Similar is the case with the Vedas. Vedas are the truths discovered by the ancient rishis in India after doing meditation for days and months and years. It was not possible to discover Vedas as easily as Newton discovered gravitation law. The rishis had to transcend all limits of their bodies and minds, and only then they could find the truths of life. The Vedanta philosophy believes in the concept of multiple births. Vedanta holds the theory that apart from our body and mind, there is a all-powerful soul behind it. The soul is just a fraction of the infinite soul, God, who is the creator of the universe.
In Britain and director of the Hindu Academy, the Vivekananda Centre in London. Over the last 15 years, Sri Lakani has given talks on Hinduism to thousands of youngsters at English schools, colleges and universities. If you wish to get a glimpse of the modern, dynamic face of Hinduism, then do not miss this series of talks.
4 aims of Hindu life. The first is called Dharma. Dharma, actually you may think me leading a religious life, but Dharma doesn't just mean leading a religious life. Dharma means trying to make sense of our human condition and resolving it. That is the meaning of the word Dharma. Making sense of our human condition and sorting ourselves out is the first aim of Hindu life, Dharma. The second aim of Hindu life is Artha. Artha means creating wealth. It means don't be a burden on society. Create wealth so that you can utilize it for the betterment of yourself, your family, and with the greater society. The second aim of Hindu life is Artha. Create wealth. Do make money. It doesn't say, oh, be poor. He says, make money, otherwise you are a burden. Be helpful to society by creating wealth. If you are a farmer, you are manufacturing, you are a professional, in that manner you are kind of participating in creating wealth or, if you like, betterment for society. So go for it. So Dharma, Artha. The third aim of Hindu life, you'll be surprised, it's very interesting, is Kama. Kama means fulfilling desires. We all are human beings, desires are stirring up in us. It is allowing us to fulfill desires, because somebody says, oh, you mustn't fulfill desires. He said, no, do fulfill desires. If you bottle up your desires, you become a psychotic case, you become a weirdo. This is fulfill desires, but the thing is, it gives you a health warning. It says, fulfill legitimate desires which are acceptable to greater society, not anything that, suppose you're walking around and you see somebody that you don't like the face of, I'm going to smack him, I got desire. Mr. Lakani said, go for it. I didn't say that. You must only fulfill legitimate desires that are tolerable, acceptable, not just anything that appears in your head. Okay, let's go for it. So fulfilling legitimate desires is the meaning of the word Kama. So Dharma, Artha, Kama, and the final aim of Hindu life is Moksha. Now, moksha comes from two Sanskrit word, moha kshaya. It means end of delusion. I want to get, you see, all our lives we chase after desires, we fulfill one desire and three more appear, and then three fulfill, and then six appear. There's no end to it. We just keep getting caught up. Like fools, we keep chasing after desires, and it becomes tiresome. It literally drains us. We lose all our energy and all our, keenness to continue to live. It drains you. So it said, look, you wanted to sort your human condition out, dharma, isn't it? You've forgotten that. So the fourth one says, no, you can't forget that. You have to sort yourself out. Moksha says, end of delusion.
According to Vedanta, if a person dies, it is just his mortal body that perishes. But it is a mere change of garments for the soul. And a soul with a certain tendency would, by the laws of affinity, take birth in a body which is the fittest instrument for displaying that tendency. The religion of Vedanta propagates the theory of karmas. It explains that a lot of the circumstances of our current life are determined by past actions. It is much like the theory of cause and effect. Our current action is the effect of the past cause, and our current actions will prove to be the cause of future effects. This is precisely what Lord Krishna explained Arjuna on the battlefield. Now Arjuna was frightened at the sight of fighting with his own friends and relatives. He felt that of what use will victory be if it is achieved by killing his own brethren. But Krishna explained to him that there was no such time when the soul was not born. It was there before we were born, and it will stay also after we die. The soul merely changes garments, which are the bodies, when these bodies perish.
You just come out of, you're going to begin your education, start your studies. Then that's the time when the first ashram begins, a student stage. And the student stage of Hindu life is, as soon as you are ready to start your studies, that ashram begins. Now this is the stage where you acquire skills and learn various kind of disciplines. So here is where you get educated, you develop certain skills so that you can participate in greater societies. It's education system. The first ashram is for education. So it begins as soon as you're ready to start your education. When does it finish? When you finish your education, it finishes. The first stage finishes. Now this particular ashram system has got the following key features. It is defined as Brahmacharya ashram. Brahmacharya is a very long word. You must learn the word. Now the word Brahmacharya, strangely, you may be surprised, but it's very important, is saying in simple English, when you are a student, no lovey-dovey. So if you are planning to send text message to that beautiful girl or that handsome boy, give it up. Brahmacharya means no lovey-dovey. When you are studying, study. Because if you digress and you start, looking at the boys and girls, this is the biggest distraction you can have when you are trying to study. And we know it. At many universities, I know youngsters who drop out of universities because they became lovey-dovey. So the first stage of Hindu life says Brahmacharya.
The Hindu believes that he is a spirit. Him the sword cannot pierce. Him the fire cannot burn. Him the water cannot melt. Him the air cannot dry. The Hindu believes that every soul is a circle whose circumference is nowhere, but whose center is located in the body, and that death means the change of this center from the one body to another body. Nor is the soul bound by the conditions of matter. In its very essence, it is free, unbounded, holy, pure, and perfect. But somehow or other, it finds itself tied down to matter and thinks of itself as matter. Now, here is an important factor which Vivekananda modestly explains, if the soul is perfect, how can it be deluded that it is matter? How can the soul, which is perfect, unchangeable, think that it is matter? Although there is no concrete answer found by the Hindu, but a fact is a fact, and there is no escaping from that fact. The Hindu has given sufficient proof that we are not just a combination of mind and matter, but we possess a soul which is eternal and immortal, perfect and infinite. And death just means only a change of center from one body to another. Now, what is the proof that we have multiple births and there is an all powerful soul in us? Is it possible to remember our past birth? It is definitely possible, and it has been demonstrated by a lot of enlightened people in the past. But it requires dedication, commitment, and willingness to do that. Just like the rishis of the past discovered Vedas, we can also remember our past lives, provided we are ready to follow the principles of the yogas, be it Gyan Yoga, knowledge, Bhakti Yoga, devotion, Raj Yoga, meditation, or Karma Yoga, selfless action. Any of the practices, if followed diligently over a period of a time, will definitely show us the way. But is our present life determined only by our past actions? And is life only a phenomenon of cause and effect? So, this cycle will go on and on. And when will this cycle end? If that were the case, then man would get engaged. He would get trapped in the middle of endless cycles of birth and death, and it will never end at any point. So, what is the solution? Is there no hope for man?
Then we come to the second stage of the Hindu life. So when you finish your studies, then begins the second stage of life, and this is called the Grahastha Ashram. From the Sanskrit root Griha, Griha means house. So Grahastha Ashram means you are starting a household, you are starting, if you like, a home. So you may be a young person still living with your parents. It's time for you to get married and settle down. This is the beginning of the Grahastha Ashram. And normally starts with the Viva ceremony, means a marriage ceremony. You where you acquire a lifelong partner to support you to set up home and have children. So the Grahastha Ashram is the second ashram you enter after you finish your studies. What are the key features of the Grahastha Ashram? Now the skills you acquired in the Brahmacharya ashram, where you learned all the techniques of how to be skillful in any field, maths or science or engineering or whatever, medicine or whatever, you say now it's time for me to contribute this for greater good. So use your skills to participate in the work of the greater world, greater society. Use your skills. Not only does it help society, but I told you one of the aims of Hindu life is artha, creating wealth. So you're creating money for yourself, for your family, for your society, for your community. So here in the second stage of life, you can fulfill the important aspect of Hinduism, artha.
Here, the explanation of Vivekananda brings hope and solace to our hearts. He says, is there no hope? Is there no escape? Was the cry that went up from the bottom of the heart of despair. It reached the throne of mercy, and words of hope and consolation came down and inspired a Vedic sage. And he stood up before the world and in trumpet voice proclaimed the glad tidings. Hear, hey children of immortal bliss, even ye that reside in higher spheres. I have found the ancient one who is beyond all darkness, all delusion. Knowing Him alone, you shall be saved from death over again. Children of immortal bliss. What a sweet, what a hopeful name. Allow me to call you, brethren, by that sweet name, heirs of immortal bliss. Yea, the Hindu refuses to call you sinners. Ye are the children of God, the sharers of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. Ye divinities on earth, sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing label on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. You are souls immortal, spirits free, bliss and eternal. Ye do not matter. Ye are not bodies. Matter is your servant, not you, the servant of matter.
Created wealth, you've got children, everything's working well. He says Vanaprastha means time for retirement. It's a retirement stage of Hindu life. Retirement. Learn to retire. Don't get carried away. I must keep working until I die. He says learn to retire gracefully. Take a back seat in your business, in your profession. Let others take on your jobs. Pass it on. Pass on your skills to the next generation rather than hang on to it. So Vanaprasthan is the retirement stage where you pass on your lovely skills to the next generation and you become an advisor. But again, there's a big problem with the Hindu community. Instead of being advisors, they become interfering. When you see some old fathers and old mothers interfering, daughter-in-law, no, you don't do this, put it here. No, I told you, but leave mother-in-law, leave me alone, let me do myself. A lot of young ladies are smiling here, personal experience. So it's time to let go. Or the fathers will interfere with the son's business. And, no, but I told you, you must do this account like this. The son said, no, I got internet, I can do it very quick. No, you must write it down. And you see, they'll interfere. So this is, don't interfere, advise, but don't get in the way of progress. This is the retirement stage. Again, many Hindus have forgotten this part. I know stories where old man is about to die, dying. He said, that house next door is cheap, buy it. I said, leave it alone, uncle. You are about to go, leave the next door house. Don't bother. They can't let go. But Vanaprastha means learn to withdraw. But you know what's the key word you must learn to get high marks? Vanaprastha means let go of desires. It's time to retire the desires. That's what keeps you kind of boiling. So now say let it go. So it's retiring not only from active life, but retiring from desires. Enough, I had enough. I enjoyed. Enough is enough. That's called retirement life. Vanaprastha ashram. See how well it's well thought out and still suitable for the modern world that we live in. Then we talk about the final stage or the fourth stage of the Hindu life. This is called the sannyas ashram. Sannyas. The word sannyas means renunciation. Now does it mean it begins when you finish your retirement? No. Sannyas actually means at any time during your life, suppose you are a 5-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy, 15-year-old youngster, 20-year-old married man, whatever, 30-year-old, sannyas can start at any time of your life. There is no rule. What does it mean? It means when that individual says, I think something is wrong, I want to jump out all this and achieve. Remember the fourth aim of Hindu life? Moksha, end of delusion. I don't chase after desires and get married and all that. I am looking for moksha. My aim is no longer artha and kama. It is moksha. Anytime that desire springs up in you at a very young age or middle age or old age, when the desires, it's time for you to give up, renounce. So a sannyasi will normally join a monastic order, means they're all monks, not with families and all that. And they join a monastic order and they live for two aims of a sannyasi are the following. Please remember this. The sannyasi says, I want to achieve moksha, but in the process I want to help humanity. This is how they do sannyas. So not just sitting in the cave and going om, but actually saying, while I'm looking for my solution, moksha, let me do some good to the greater world. Through helping humanity, they wish to achieve moksha. This is the aim of sannyas. This is very important because people sometimes think sannyas means give up family, give. No. A sannyasi will say, I've given up my small family because I've become a monk now, so I have to kind of do my own thing, live in a monastic order.
He is everywhere, the pure and formless one, the Almighty and the All Merciful. Thou art our Father, Thou art our Mother, Thou art our beloved friend, Thou art the source of all strength. Give us strength. Thou art He that beareth the burdens of the universe. Help me bear the little burden of this life. Thus sang the rishis of the Vedas. And how to worship Him? Through love. He is to be worshipped as the one beloved, dearer than everything in this and the next life. This is the doctrine of love declared in the Vedas, and let us see how it is fully developed and taught by Krishna, whom the Hindus believe to have been God incarnate on earth. He taught that a man ought to live in this world like a lotus leaf which grows in water but is never moistened by water. So a man ought to live in the world, his heart to God and his hands to work. It is good to love God for hope of reward in this or in the next birth. But it is better to love God for love's sake. And the prayer goes, Lord, I do not want wealth nor children, nor learning. If it be thy will, I shall go from birth to birth. But grant me this, that I may love thee without the hope of reward. Love unselfishly for love's sake.